Welcome back to another episode of a very basic space program. In the last episode, we went suborbital with one of our crew, Krishnova. This time, I think we're going to try and go orbital, so please join me. We're now on to episode 26, and I was tempted for this episode to actually take a gap and actually do a how to build a Black Arrow, because we had the 50th anniversary of Black Arrow's orbital flight yesterday. However, I've just thought I'm just going to do a normal episode. If you'd like to see how to build a Black Arrow, please comment down below. I might throw that in. I've got some other stuff coming out, or I've already had stuff come out about the Black Arrow, and it's something I maybe want to do. So let's have a look. We're in the astronaut office complex place thing. Obviously, we've got our first 4 pilots that they retired, and we've got Krishnova, Evgeny. Krishnova is obviously our most recent flyer. We have Regine Mayer, who is going to be, I think, our orbital pilot. But I noticed we don't have any scientists or engineers, and we will need those in the future. Not for the one-man capsule or one crew capsule. One crew capsule, but we will need them in the future for the 2 or 3 crew capsule for some of the science. You actually do need engineers and scientists for that. So I'm just looking now to see if there's anybody that interests me, and Henrik Muller looked interesting until I saw Annalise Mayer, who is maximum courage, almost no stupidity, and obviously is Regina's twin sister. Obviously, one became a pilot, one became an engineer. So we're going to hire you. There we go. We do need a scientist. I'm going to hold off on that. We're going to potentially there's one there that we could do, or we could do one of these top 2. The problem is stupidity is not bad. This Muller might be an option, so we'll think about that. But I just wanted to get the engineer because I realized just how good that is. So let's go and build ourselves an orbital craft. Right, so here we are with the Javelin 2 with the Icarus 2 on top. So we actually launched the Icarus 1, which was basically this craft, in the last episode. You will have noticed the last episode I cut in half and made 2 episodes out of it. I'm going to try and shorten the episodes a little bit, because I think running over 30 minutes is a bit excessive. So I'm going to try, because you're getting 2 episodes a week, I'm going to make them a little shorter. So we may end up splitting missions and things like that at the moment, particularly as they get longer. But I'd also be interested, would you like to see build episodes and then flight episodes, or do you like it mixed in? That would be good to know. So, the Icarus 2, first of all, well, this booster is not going to cut it. We only used it for a test, so we'll get rid of that. What we're going to use is, and I've already prepared this, yes, I'm preparing beforehand. We have the, there we are, the Javelin 3 Luna 6 craft. This is the exact craft we used for launching Luna 6. I will point out Luna 7 will fly. Oh, that's nice. I didn't really even realize the fairing would fit perfectly. Luna 7 will fly. I'll just do that off camera, probably before this launch, because we have stuff going on with Luna 7. Let's have a look. Luna 7 is actually building at the moment. We can actually get rid of this one. We have Pathfinder 3 being built at some point, but I may cancel that. We'll decide. So this is our craft, is it? How nice. That's almost perfectly just planted on there, isn't it? Wonderful. One thing I did notice, I was looking through, and I'm going to take these fairings off for a second. Just put one on. There we go. When I put this together, I have this RCS section here, and then I have the cap on the end. The cap on the end, I believe, has the drogue chute in it. And this RCS has the main chute in it. If you actually go into the science research facility, there is another thing, which is a Mercury parachute. And it says that it should be placed underneath the nose cap. Now, I don't know if that's incorrect. I should really make a comment about it somewhere into the GitHub or the forums or something. But it seems this actually has a parachute built in, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, whether it's been an adaptation, a change, or something. I do seem to remember that there used to be 2 different parachutes for this, and maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm sure there used to be 2 parachutes you stacked on top of each other, so maybe the models have changed a little bit. So let's have a look at this. If we actually let's get rid of that Luna. We're not going to put the Luna badge on it. So at the moment, and the other thing I need to do that I noticed in the last launch was oxygen and food and water are at 0, which is don't want to do that, which is not what we want. So we want water, food and oxygen all maxed up. Wonderful. Right, so that's that done. Now We could just launch this as this and see if it'll make it. It'll be tight. We do have the RCS on this, which would actually give us quite a bit of delta V at the end there, just to pull it into orbit and then pull it out. You'll notice I'm not going to put the retro packs on because we've got our RCS in here. We could actually strip the RCS if we need to. The big issue I'm going to have, I think, is payload. So let us just pull this off for a second. So what is our, let's have a look at this, payload setup. Avionics. That doesn't work anymore because it's using compounded. I have this set up with the modern version of RP-1, which means you can't compound your payloads. 6. Oh no, maybe I haven't. 6.2. Oh, wonderful. It's almost like we've planned ahead. So that's 6.2. However, this is going to be problematic, isn't it? I don't think we've got enough delta V. Now this engine can go further. I think I might take this to 5-minute burn. I think we try and launch it just as is. Yeah, we launch it as is, and if it doesn't make it, it doesn't make it. This thrust off the start here is actually going to help us a lot, I think. So we'll see. We don't lose much from that. We lose a little bit of that. That might be okay. That might be okay, and we've got RCS as well. So if worst comes to worst, if worst comes to worst, we have a suborbital flight. That's not a loss for us. Right. The next thing to look at is going to be the science in this, and this is something I didn't look at the last one because it was just a hop. It wasn't spending much time in orbit. We have some science, and there's 4 experiments you can run, which means you probably need two flights at least into orbit to do it, and they're not very long ones for the single capsule, not very long. So we're going to go big bang for buck first of all. We've got visual tracking. Yeah, we'll go visual tracking. So we're going to go visual tracking, and we're going to go Earth photography. Those are the 2 that we're going to run. We're going to start those straight away because we should have enough, and this is the plan. We're going to leave this section attached. I think it gives us about 12 hours or something in orbit, which is more than enough to do what we need to. And this second stage will actually become our return stage. It will orientate us and put us into the return, which I think should work. We should be okay with that before we decouple. So this is going to be basically a reuse of this rocket yet again. At some point I'm going to have to build a new rocket, aren't I? So do we need to tool anything? I don't think we do, because these fairings, which I'm keeping on, will protect our craft obviously from the rigors of launch, and it means that our pilot's in the dark, but let's not worry about that. Avionics okay, tooling's fine. So this is actually costing us nothing. This is costing us nothing in regards to tooling. How much time is it going to take to build? It's going to take 136 days. So we're going to Icarus 2 Javelin 3, this. We're going to build that. Everything's correct, is it? Solid rockets go, they go off the side. That fairing, oh, you need to come off there, there we go. Fairing comes off, we detach that and we go for that. Yeah, that's about right. So save that, we're going to do one of those, then we're going to call this Icarus 3, and we'll have another one of those. There we go. And I think we're ready. So I am going to jump back to the main screen. You will see that we've got the lunar missions. I'm going to fast forward that out of the way. Then we will get on with the Icarus mission. So I will see you in about 200 days. Right, it is the 4th of April 1962. Our Icarus 2 is on the pad, ready to go. We have actually finished some tech while we were going. I completed the, where is it, where are we? I completed the lunar mission, so we can get rid of that. We did complete some tech as well on the way. So we've now got all of this orbital tech all the way upgraded, so we can now look at upgrading some of our engines and maybe build a new launch vehicle to replace the Javelin 3, which is it's getting well used, I'll be honest with you there. We need to spend another 51, and I'm just wondering what's the best way to do it. So we could go for, even more orbital rocketry. That gives us N1s, which would be nice for launching stuff. We could push for that, or we could go stage combustion, and then we get into the NK family. And then what have we got? We've got RD, that's proton, that's a nice strand to go down. What have we got up here? So we would have H1s, then we'd have the Agena, then we got these things. And what upgrades have we got as well? I got, oh, the RD-214. That's quite a nice rocket engine, if I remember rightly. I'm not sure it ever flew. We could go British. We could also have a look at some more of the sort of XLR things, not massively pushed to do that. We also have, is this the one where I get the upgrade? So we've got an upgrade to the LR79, which we use. 108, XLR Mark II, RD214U. That looks interesting. RD108, 4, RD109. So we actually have the RD109 upgrade. I'm going to do that so I remind myself that I've got it. So we could actually upgrade the upper stage on this engine, on this craft already, and it would actually give us, I think it's better ISP. I have to check. In fact, we can have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got 2. Oh, because of the way it works now, you get 2, right? Okay. Right. So let's have a look. ISP, thank you. ISP, so that ISP is 316. Yeah, we get better ISP, and I think you get better thrust as well. You do. So we could potentially just swap that out. If we're short on Delta V, we could actually swap out for the upgraded engine for the next craft. Would be an idea, but we'll see. We're not trying to rush this at all. This is not a rush series. If you want to see a rush series, there is something coming to the channel that you may like to watch. Right, we're going to launch this, recover that. We're going to put in who are we putting in? Was it Maya? Yeah, we're putting in Maya because she is the next pilot on order, as it were. And we're going to go and launch this thing. Well, it is a wonderfully sunny day at the Cape, and we're ready to go. Regina doesn't need to be at all nervous. I mean, in reality, we've got solid rocket boosters, which mean if she actually ejects and we fire a parachute, they're probably going to burn up and she'll probably die. But apart from that, she's probably fine. Probably fine. So let's do that. Everything's ready. And let's start some engines. Got our main engines going, good, and fire those solids. There we are. Off she goes. Look, oh, she's calm as anything. No, she's not. She's quite stressed. Okay. Yeah, I can understand. I can understand where you're coming from on that one. I would be slightly concerned as well if I was you. Okay, you're looking very concerned right now. It's calm. Your sister's watching. Your twin sister is watching. Do not. That's better. Very much better. Thank you very much. Right, we're just going to start turning over a bit. We're going to wait for those solids to burn out. This is almost a perfect launch. Well done us. We're obviously losing a lot of Delta V to air resistance and drag and so forth at that point. We can now get rid of those. There we go. Fall away nicely. And we are on our way. So we're going to start turning over a bit more. Obviously, we've gone up quite straight because we don't turn over rapidly, but this craft has now discarded that extra thrust, and we are back to sort of the slower way to orbit. Luckily, we've got that nice push from those solids, which have really helped us. Now, what we could do is could actually put some science into operating the casters. If we're going to use them a lot, you can actually operate them, and you can also get vacuum ones. And so what some craft do is you can actually have, say, 4 casters fire at launch, and you save 2 for later on, and then you have those fire up, and that's an option we could go for, actually, thinking about it. So we're getting along nicely here. We also need to think about upgrading this engine. So we've got upgrades for this engine, upgrades for this engine, and potentially if we put the effort in, we could upgrade the casters. So it'd be interesting to see how far we can push this, but I do think we're going to need another launch vehicle, and I'm not sure what I want to go with, whether we want to go with something like this or something else. I don't know. We'll see. So we're going to pull this right down now to, I don't know, 20 would be good. 20 is a nice number. We don't want a massively high orbit. We don't want to be careful when this thing comes back in, and we also know that we need to not overdo it. So just 1 minute for this engine to burn out. How exciting. We could actually speed this up, couldn't we? If I was being cheeky, we just do that. Once we get over 100, we will actually, and I'm actually going to turn this down to 10. Once we get over 100, I will actually get rid of this fairing, which I believe is this one. We just need to check because this could go horribly wrong at any moment because I may not have set the staging up right. Let's get rid of the fairing. There we go. That base doesn't really match this. I should probably have gone, thinking about this in the future, probably we should have gone with just a circular base, then this could sit flush almost with there. But it doesn't look too bad. It looks a bit janky, but we'll live with it. Right, we need to get down to 0 now. Okay, we are now getting a reasonably high apoaps actually, which is not a problem. It's not a problem at the moment. Right, decouple and fire that engine. There we go. We're actually going to put our nose down a little bit because I don't want to go over 200. In fact, let's check, because the contract might require, yeah, it just requires a periaps of above 150. So we're not in a hurry to get too high. So I'm actually going to pop this down just a smidgen. There we go. So this is very different to both of the first orbital craft, the American and the Russian one, because of course the Russians used the R7. So you had your side boosters coming off that were liquid fueled side boosters. You had your long burning middle, and then a little upstage. And then the Americans, of course, used Atlas. They had Atlas go up, which was in effect sort of a single stage to orbit with a, you know, stage and a half to orbit, I think is what it's described as, where it would actually discard engines on the way up. We could build an Atlas. I've never actually built one. I don't think I've ever built one, so it's something that maybe we should have a look at. I don't know. I do find the gimbal on this quite funny. What I am going to do is, do I want to put the RCS on? Give us a bit more control? No, I think we're okay at the moment. What we will do is we will just do a bit of physical time warp though, just to shorten this burn time down. So, what am I looking as we come down? Well, our time to apoapsis is actually less than our burn time, so I know we're actually going to get closer. However, we're actually going to be, because of how we're before our horizon, as it were, although we're horizontal, we're actually adding a little bit to our altitude here, so we're actually going to be gaining a little bit here. The closer we get to that time there, the more vertical velocity I'll have to put in order to balance everything out. So once we get to about 10, there we go, I'm going to turn this to 15 degrees, just get it going. And you'll see that we're now about to hit 0, and we're going to keep an eye on that. There we go. And it's slowed down. I don't mind it going past it, because I actually would like to be about 180 kilometers would be a nice altitude for us. What we're now looking at is down here, and I can actually pull this up for you if you're looking closely at the screen. We're looking at vertical speed. You see the vertical speed is going more negative, so that means we're falling. But what we should find is, as this thrust to weight decreases, that this should actually start to slow down. This here we go. It's going to start. There we go. So we're now at a point now where I want to just start to level this out a bit. And there we go, we're going back the other way, and we're going to keep seesawing there because I want to stay around this range. And this is sort of what Centaur does. It actually fires up high and then it starts to fall, although it actually lets itself fall further. It falls quite a long way before it sort of kicks in. So now we've got quite a bit of speed because every sort of degree really changes that. And now we're slowing down, and there we go. So now we're gaining. We're actually going to be getting close. You see there we're accelerating. Although we're still falling, our vertical speed is reducing, or is getting closer to 0. And that's what we're trying to do. You want this to be 0 at the point you hit your apoapse, because that's where you're going to circularize. So it's what you're sort of fighting for here. So now I'm going to take this down to 7 and a bit more. I just want to slow it down just a little bit. There we go. Now you have to remember that as you get closer towards your orbital speed, it actually becomes easier to do this. It becomes easier to actually maintain that horizontal vertical velocity, your vertical velocity at around 0, because you need less sort of push up. You've already got a lot of horizontal velocity in there. So we just need to remember about that. Bring this down. This isn't going to be a perfect orbital path, but yeah, it'll be okay, I think. And I think we're going to 0 it now. There we go. So we're going to be near to what we want, and then just keep an eye on it, and there we go. We're just into orbit. Lovely. I cut that very close there. So what have we got left in the tank? We have 187 meters per second. Oh, we've got loads. Look, Regina is so happy. So we'll put all this stuff back, and now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make sure that these experiments are running first of all. Are you running? Yes, we are. Wonderful. Superb. That is going to take... Let's have a look. You are going to take 5 more hours. We have to be in orbit for at least an hour and a half anyway. So that's not a problem. Now, we don't want to decouple this. We need to really make sure we don't decouple this. I'm not even going to activate the RCS right now. What we do need to check is, right, have we got everything turned on that needs to be turned on? Do we have everything going? So let's look. We've got waste being produced. We have a lithium hydroxide is okay. Now, let's check our craft. There we go. Now, we don't need that anymore. Get off that. Thank you. Come off. Why? There we go. Right, let's come back to this. So, we have oxygen for 5 hours, liquid oxygen for 5 hours. We don't care about that. We don't need the liquid oxygen. We have got, let's have a look. We have food for 1 day. We've got everything for 1 day. Liquid oxygen is not an issue. Electric is 18 hours. So that's the limiting factor. And I find with a lot of the early capsules, that is your limiting factor, the electric charge. You use an awful lot of electric charge just in general. Now, this capsule, if we didn't have this attached, would actually last longer than that. I think it's actually close to like a day and a half it will last. But we've got this avionics unit on here. What we could have done is built a little sort of orientation pack or something under here with a small thruster or something and used that for return. But it would have added cost and complexity to a craft that just didn't need it. So let us spin this around the planet. I will let it go forward enough to complete its science, and then we will look at returning. Right, we are on the dark side of the planet. We have completed our mission. We just got to go home now. We have also got all of the beautiful science you can see down here. We've got 70 odd science. I believe it's been transmitted. Let's just have a look. Can we see? Yeah, we've got over 110 science now, so it's been transmitted. We will probably get some science for returning crew and things like that. Now, you cannot EVA from this module. I just thought I'd show you that. The Mercury does not have a hatch to let you EVA, so that's something you need to be aware of. Right, it's time to go home. So how are we going to do this? Well, first of all, we're going to engage the RCS. There we are. Okay, and what we can do is turn off our smart ASS, turn this on, and I want to point retrograde. So get me retrograde. There we go. And we're just going to use our RCS to pull us down out of orbit, really. We could use solid rocket motors, things like that. A lot of programs did do that, and you can test that. You can simulate that if you wish. I'm just going to use the RCS, and then we're just going to, so that I don't get the annoying thing, I'm going to shut down this engine. There we go. There is no liquid oxygen left, by the way. We got a little sign partway through our orbit to say the liquid oxygen had boiled off, and I was like, okay, that's nice. Right, so let's fire these thrusters, and you can see we're now losing altitude, or losing our RP because we're actually doing this near periaps. Not the most opportune of places to do it, but yeah, we're doing it there, and you can see we've got quite a lot of HTP there. So what we can do is we can actually just time warp this, physically time warp, obviously. And as long as we're coming down, we should be fine. It's going to be a reasonably slow re-entry. We don't need to worry too much about it. It's not like re-entry angle is going to be a killer for this one, I don't think. I'll probably find out that I'm completely wrong. So we'll just let that run a bit. You can speed it up. You can see it takes a long time to do this, and we're just going to hold it there. Yeah, there we go. The periaps is now getting down. So I'm going to let this drop to, I think, I want to say 60. I want to say 60. I think 60 is a good one because we're so low anyway. I think it doesn't need to be a heavy return, shall we say. It's going to be a very gentle, hopefully a very gentle return. Nice and easy for us to return through the atmosphere. So there we go. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do it at 70. We're going to stop at about 70, 75, which is not where I normally do, but we'll see. 50 is normally what I would do, but let's just see 70. There we go. Right. And then we have a choice. We can keep this attached till the last minute, or we can get rid of it now. We're actually going to keep it attached until we enter the atmosphere, as it were. So there we go. And you can see we're coming down, and although we had a really low orbit, we're actually going to be hopefully on the light side. This is why I'm doing the re-entry here. I'm hoping that we're going to be, yeah, we're about to hit the light. So there we go. We're just rolling ourselves into position, and I'm actually going to decouple that. I'm going to arm our parachutes with 5. Then I'm going to arm our RCS. There we go. And there we are, sorted. And I'm actually going to turn the RCS off now. There we are. Right, let us time warp this thing a bit. We've actually got this underneath, and that's probably not the best way of doing this. In fact, it's probably really a bad idea. It could actually come back and bite me in the posterior, having it that positioned like that, thinking about it. And we should have actually, one of the things I have forgotten is that we actually removed the thrust off this. So for our satellite launches on Luna, I didn't want it to throw off our calculations, so we removed the impulse that this generates when you decouple. That is a problem. It is off to one side, so we will see what happens here. It might be that its engine just slides it off to one side. What should have actually happened is I should have actually orientated in the normal and done the decoupling, and then we would reorientate ourselves, and that's what I would normally do. If you've been watching the British Space Program, you will see that I tend to orientate the craft in the normal and then let it rotate round. That's not what I have done today, obviously. So there we go, we're going to just speed this through, and my concern is that this actually pulls this whole craft around a bit, but we will see. I think this is the heavier part, with this engine being not too heavy. In the middle of this would be very light. Technically I could actually take control of this bottom craft. I wonder if we could do that actually. Is it? Yeah, we can't control it. So what you could do before orbit is actually take control of this craft, make sure that it's got science and whatnot on board, take control of it, and then use its RCS to actually translate it sideways would be what you should do, but we have not done. So this potentially could be a disaster because of my not planning ahead. So here we go. At 4 times speed coming in for the re-entry. I would really like it to hurry up. Oh, have we got some movement going on? No, we're still stuck. It's still stuck to the bottom of that heat shield. There was actually, I believe, one of the Mercury flights did have a problem with its heat shield, and I can't remember if it was that the straps were stuck on or the heat shield was loose. I believe that was Mercury, and I can't remember which pilot it was. I'd have to go back and check off the top of my head. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Oh, this is actually starting to twist nastily. Oh dear. Oh dear, you can see we're getting a gap opening there because there's a bit of flex now going on it. So this is actually starting to tilt. My concern being that this actually might be stuck. And if this is stuck because of part clipping, Regina, this would be a disaster, wouldn't it? Yeah, this could potentially be a disaster. We're getting into the thicker stuff now. So we will see. Oh, it's moved back now. What's going on? Are you going to turn? Are you going to go? What is going on? It does seem as though it might be stuck. Oh no! So note to self, put some force into this because this has 0 force when decoupling, and we're still sliding. My concern is that this starts to overheat and we lose the parachutes. That is the concern. So let's have a look. Oh, the RCS is firing on it. Oh my lord, that's a killer for us. Oh, it's gonna go. It's gonna go. It's gonna go. Come on. Go, 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 go. Go on, just detach. There we go. Slide off. Right, come on, turn. Now, do we have time? Yes, there we go. Oof. Right, so we have noted a potential problem with the design of that craft in the fact that we need to make sure these two separate properly. Okay. Right, and nicely you've lined yourself up. That's good. That's good. Right, now we just need you to stabilize a little bit. That would be lovely. Interestingly, of course, the RCS on this is only for roll, which I find really interesting because if you're actually, let's have a look at it. So it's got, can we see it? So it's got, where's its ports at? Hold still, please. So it's got multiple ports on the model, but obviously it would just have a sort of jets facing each direction, and that would allow it to control the roll easily enough. Right, now we're just going to get through the heating phase, and what we could do is I might want to just rotate you across a bit. We just want to, yeah, there we go. There we go. Oh, the jets are down there. Oh, that's interesting. I thought we had jets up here. Isn't this supposed to be the control module? Maybe it contains the fuel for the RCS. That's interesting. RCS. What I've actually done is turned off the SAS now because yeah, I don't want to overdo it. Oh god, you know what? I keep forgetting we're on physical time warp. So we just want to rotate around. I want to come in just reasonably, just like this. We could put descent mode on and give ourselves a bit of a lift, but I think we should be fine without. If I'm right, do we have descent mode on? Let's have a look. I can't see it. It's on there, I believe. Did the Mercury have descent mode? Extend periscope. No, maybe it didn't. Maybe the Mercury did not have descent mode. Maybe it's Gemini I'm thinking of. I have been flying a few Gemini type craft recently. Oh, there you go. There's the remnants of the upper stage just below us going away. So we're going to come down through here, and as long as we get through this overheating section, we should be fine, and then we can actually end the episode and we can look at the next episode for what's going to happen next. So we're just going to roll back a bit. We can actually go a bit faster now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. Just playing around with this, not using SAS at all right now. Put the SAS on now. So, not doing too badly at all. Went through the atmosphere fine. So I'm going to probably cut it here. You see the level of G-force I don't think went too high. She's at what, 40% loss of consciousness, and that's the worst, was it? Yeah, I think that was about as bad as it got. I'll go back and look at the video, but we had a reasonable nice re-entry. There was no problems with Regina passing out or anything like that, and we are now done. So I will land this in the ocean I believe we're coming down into, and I will see you next time for another mission. So from me, have a great one.